was that?
The most important thing is a neat workspace.
Well, I can agree.
In the
and honestly, this looks pretty neat.
yeah.
Look at all this stuff.
Yeah.
We have the mold here, and if you look in the corners, they are keyed and not in such a way as they could match up in any other fashion.
Right. Yes, there's only one way that these fit together, and conveniently.
One's a square.
Yeah, and
Now that square, it looks like it was a die. Was it a die?
No, it wasn't actually. It was a rare earth magnet.
That's even cooler.
And these are ball bearings.
Awesome.
Yes, indeed.
We're manufacturing.
Indeed.
All right.
You need high-tech thingo-jibbies.
Okay, so this is known as futzing with the mold.
Yeah, there's some plastic residue, little filmy bits that sometimes get trapped in there and will show up in the final product.
Possibly some ants. You know, it's homey for them, especially these cold winter months.
Shit, there's another one.
Okay, so
applying release on the inside of the mold to make sure that the final cast fully releases.
That would be good. Now, any precautions you need to take with the release at all?
Don't use too much, but you need to pay careful attention to the detail areas, because I've had those little silicone bits just rip right out when you remove the plastic.
And that does kind of kill your mold at that point.
It does. It does.
All right. So, release agent has been applied to both sides of the mold.
Indeed.
Okay, so
all right. When you make the mold, I find it easier to cut the channels afterwards. I actually use the paintbrush because it's cheap, thin metal, so it slides right through the silicone.
Oh, okay.
And then, so that gives you one channel. That's the air escape channel, and this is the pouring channel.
And the pouring, okay, let me say it again because we got the air escape channel.
Yeah, right there. And this is the pouring channel. So you slice through that, and then put it together with this one, with the other half, which doesn't actually need a channel. Just send it to the appropriate place in the model, and then cut a funnel into it. The funnel is pretty important because it gives you a reservoir when you're pouring plastic, and I can maybe describe that when I'm actually pouring.
Okay.
So
that's what we have. The thicker opening there is to
that's for pouring, and that's for air to escape.
And the other one is for air. Right.
You want to. All right. So you got your mold together. This one's a vertical mold, so I need to apply pressure on the sides. But you kind of want to distribute the pressure because silicone is very soft. You don't want to do it with just a clamp or something unless you're distributing the pressure, like I am here, using an old cutting board and a piece of plastic. Just want really, really gentle pressure, enough to keep it so stuff doesn't flow out. So it's thick liquid, so it won't flow easily. So
if the mold starts to deform, you are putting too much pressure on the mold.
Yes.
All right.
Indeed.
So we are measuring by weight, it appears.
Yeah, this stuff you can go by volume, but I find the amounts we're using are small because the cups are not that great by volume, that it's way more accurate and easy to just measure.
So what kind of scale do we have there?
That is a cheap scale.
A cheap scale, but
but accurate enough.
Accurate enough for our purposes.
My plastics seem to be setting, so it must be within a couple.
Okay, and we are using Smoothcast 300 for this.
Yes. The big selling point of Smoothcast is that you can do it by volume, but it's actually a little more complex when you do it by weight, because the ratios are not 1-to-1, but I know the ratios, so it's fine.
All right.
This is 100 to 90, so I need 100 parts A for every 90 parts B. So since I weighed 35 grams, which includes the cup, so cups are about 5 grams, so that gives you 30 grams of A. I need 27 grams of B.
All right.
So 27 grams plus a 5 gram cup gives you, close enough, 32 grams there.
All right. Color goes in.
Color goes in B.
All right.
And needs to be mixed thoroughly. And I'm colorblind, but 2 drops of yellow and 1 drop of blue usually do a pretty good job of
they just kind of stay put right there unless you do anything with them.
Yeah.
Interesting. Get right in there for this blue dropping action. Nice.
Actually didn't splurt on the side that time.
That's good.
It often does. Anyway.
Something to be aware of.
Yes.
Okay, we're mixing those colors up.
Mix this thoroughly. You usually have to mix for like 50% longer than you think you should, which you will discover when you make something that's all streaky.
But even if you take it into account that you should be waiting, you should be...
Yeah, you could get an infinite loop, really, if you think, okay, I should do it for 50%
So
longer.
those of you dedicated to logic, maybe just...
That's why I put the addendum in there.
Right.
Just to be sure. Don't get crazy. Just use the logics of grammar and not the logics of math. All right, so I've got the color uniformly mixed through B, and now I'm going to add A. And I actually nailed my measurements pretty well this time, but if you're off by a little, like up to half a gram, and you don't feel like pouring stuff back and forth into your container, which is good because A eats away at these plastic cups, so you have a limited amount of time to measure.
So if your cup is disintegrated and all over your bench, then you probably have waited too long.
You waited too long. Yeah, you really only have like maybe 5 minutes with the cup, with A in that cup.
Good to know.
Yes, I found that out with lots of plastic all over.
So keep stirring that up.
Containers. Yep. But you can't go too long because it will start to set up. If it starts to feel warm in your hand, start pouring because
all right.
That's
wait for the warmth.
Means well, ideally you do it before it starts feeling warm.
Okay.
Once it feels warm, it means you've made it. You're right on the edge. You might be too late.
Okay.
And with these things, which are thin, it needs to be pretty fluid in order to pour.
So it looks like that funnel is making a nice reservoir there.
Yeah, you pour into the reservoir here, which is good because if you let that run out, you'll get an air bubble.
Gotcha.
So the reservoir gives you a little bit of time to catch up when you see it getting low, or and a little bit of buffer in case you pour too much, which does happen.
So for our electronics friends, similar to a capacitor, you're basically storing up the charge to get a nice even distribution.
Indeed, and you can see it came right up the air hole, and so we're done.
Fantastic, and we'll wait for that to set.
And because this does eat away at this one, I usually pour my extra into here, because that gives it something else to react with besides the cup. And then I put this one in this one, because that'll capture it. And I stick my stick in my stick sculpture.
Which is ever-growing.
Indeed.
All right, so we have a bit of a color change situation going on here. Chris, can you explain to me
the plastic
what's going on?
Cures an opaque white.
Okay.
So but obviously in its unreacted form, it's clear, except for the color that I added. So there you're watching it cure into white with the pigment that I added. So
interesting.
It's turning
a lighter green. Interesting. Okay, so that's an indication to you that the process is taking place. Now, how long do you usually wait to demold?
I give the opaque stuff, the Smoothcast 300, like 20 minutes, half an hour.
Okay.
The Smoothcast 325, which you can see is already setting here, I did earlier, I give at least an hour.
Okay.
And even then it's soft. That seems to set up quite slowly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have deviced.
Yes.
And we have given a considerable amount of time.
Yeah, this is set up for at least half an hour now, probably.
Half hour. You pull the mold open.
I added the release, so it
came off without too much
fully released properly. And these little, what do you call these, runners? Or?
Sprues.
Sprues, that's right. Just kind of snap off. And then
got a nice deep inset.
Just carefully pull this away. And
let's get a nice
there
shot
you go.
Of that there. Nice. Very good.
Perfect. It usually requires just a little bit of trimming. There's some flashing on the side here that you can just remove.
Each one of these things is handcrafted in a painstakingly time-consuming process.
It's even a tiny bit warm.
Nice.
Yeah, because the curing process releases a little bit of heat.
So it is exothermic?
Indeed.
Oh my goodness. And they say we have a math and science problem in this country. Basement chemistry. So we are now demolding a lid here.
Yeah. Pull apart the halves.
as opposed to have-nots.
Yes, indeed. I was trying to think of the joke for that one, but I...
So we're cutting the little
Yeah, you
reservoir
kind of push up
spillage
the bit there, because that'll
Yeah.
rip the silicone, and then you can kind of push it through, and it'll come out all together. And it gives you a little... And then that one snaps, usually. And you can snap off the sprue. This one's got a little air bubble, too, but...
But certainly...
These are...
Certainly in...
prototypes.
Yeah,
sort
but
of.
that's good.
You know, it's each one's unique, and
Handcrafted.
yeah,
That's very good. Get that flashing off of there.
indeed.
And we end up with a lid and cup. Once we get that trimmed off here, we'll put them together.
Yeah, I kind of carve out the air bubbles, because otherwise it'll... Shit. These came out not good.
That's not bad.
Well, thank you for your kindness.
We're going to have, we'll have our industrial process at some point.
And because these are a very tight fit, I find it easier. While this one takes a little longer to fully set, that's useful, because I can put put the cup in the lid, and then it'll cure around it and conform quite nicely.
All right.
So there we go. Cup and lid.
Start to finish.
Indeed.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chris.